my channel. I hope you're all doing really well today. So I am super excited today. I've got my Christmas sweater on and we are going to be doing some holiday decor DIY projects that I'm really excited about. I've been putting these together over the past couple of weeks, so I know they're a little bit late in the season, but I hope you will find some that are fun to do or just enjoy watching me create these different projects. I had a lot of fun putting them together. I've made several DIY ornaments as well as some different decor elements, and I'm really excited to show you the projects. So let's just go ahead and jump right in. I really wanted to create a stocking this year. I had never made one before and it sounded really fun, and I also had this cute leftover Christmassy floral fabric that I thought would be perfect for it. So I've designed a stocking pattern that I have available as a free download on my website. If you guys would like to make one as well, you can head over there and download it. And the first step is just to cut out the fabric. So I am cutting out the stocking template from 2 layers of my floral fabric, and you'll see that you want these to go opposite directions once they're cut out. I'm also going to cut this out from 2 layers of lining fabric. This is optional. I just thought a satin lining would look really nice in this stocking. And then finally, I decided to add a faux fur cuff to the top. So I am measuring a strip of this faux fur that will wrap all the way around the top of my stocking with a seam allowance added. So for me, that was 17 inches, and this just happens to be about 10 inches in width. So here are all of my pieces cut out, and now I can move on to sewing the stocking. To sew the stocking together, I'm going to start by placing the 2 pieces with the right sides together and pinning all the way around, and then I'll stitch all the way around the outside of the stocking, of course leaving the top open, and I'm going to use a 5/8 of an inch seam allowance and a straight stitch. I am also going to do exactly the same thing for my lining fabric, making sure that the right sides are together here and stitching all the way around that outside edge. And once those seams are sewn, I'm just going to trim off the excess so this isn't too bulky on the inside. So I'm just going to cut away at my seam allowance, and then I can turn the stocking to the right side and press it flat. I'm also going to trim away the excess fabric on the lining pieces, but this does not have to be turned to the right side because the right sides are on the inside for the lining. So once I've trimmed that away and given it a quick press, I can go ahead and put the lining inside the stocking, and I'm just going to pin all the way around the top, and this will just keep the lining secured to the top of the stocking while I'm working with it, but I will remove these pins later. So now you can see the lining is on the inside of the stocking and everything is looking really good. So now I'm going to move on to the faux fur cuff. I'm just folding the faux fur with the right sides together, matching up the shorter edges, and trying to keep the faux fur to the inside as much as possible so it's not caught in the seam. And then I'm just going to pin this down and sew it down with a straight stitch using the seam allowance that I measured out at the beginning. Next, I'm just going to trim away the seam allowance because the faux fur is so bulky and I want to reduce as much of that as possible. Then I'm going to fold this in half with the wrong sides together, just matching up the 2 raw edges so that this is double-sided. Now I'm ready to attach the cuff to the stocking, but first of all I'm going to add a tab to hang it from, and I decided to use this really pretty blue velvet ribbon that I found from Joann's Fabrics. So I have folded a little piece of this together and I'm going to pin this to the inside of the stocking. This will go between the stocking and the cuff layers as I sew it, and that will make it look correct when it's done. Then I'm going to take the cuff and match up the raw edge that we just folded together to the top raw edge of the stocking. So I have to put this on the inside of the stocking, and this was actually a little difficult to do because it is so fluffy, but I just really took my time here and tried to match it up as best as I could. And I'm also making sure that I can see the edge of that ribbon tab, so I make sure that gets caught in my stitching as I sew around the top. So once I had everything pinned down here, I could take this to the sewing machine and carefully stitch all the way around the top edge here. I used about a 1/2 inch seam allowance here, but it doesn't really matter too much. And then I just trimmed off the excess here because again, that faux fur is so fluffy. And then I could turn the cuff to the outside. Now you could finish this seam with a serger if you wanted to, but I just didn't feel like it was necessary. And now you can see the top looks really clean. You can see the satin lining, and the little hanging tab stands out as well. Now, I loved how this blue velvet ribbon looked with the fabric because it picked up on some of the blue tones in the fabric, so I decided to add one more little element of the blue ribbon by tying a bow and stitching this to the front of the cuff just to tie the colors together, and I think it looks really, really cute. And once I had sewn the bow to the front of the stocking, that finished off this project, and I think it turned out so cute. And I'm actually giving this stocking away over on my Instagram, so if you would like to enter for a chance to win it, be sure to head over to my Instagram and you can find it over there. Moving on next to some Christmas ornaments, I made two versions of these little glittery house ornaments, and the first one is made out of cardboard. So I made this little template for a house that you can download on my website, and I just traced that onto some scrap cardboard. This is actually a box for some Christmas lights that I bought this year, so I thought it was a good way to reuse it. So I'm just going to cut out my house template after tracing it on. Next, I'm just going to score along all of the fold lines for the house, and if you download the template on my website, these will be marked on the template. This will just allow the house to fold together a little bit easier and make sure those lines are nice and clean. So I just use my scissors to do that, and then I can fold along those lines and it's ready to glue together. So I'm going to use some hot glue here just to glue those two sides together. I decided I wanted this house to sit on a little base, so I just cut out a little rectangle of cardboard about the right size and glued that together. And then I also cut out a piece of cardboard to be the roof, and I used this piece that was pre-folded from this box, which worked out really well, and just trimmed it to the right size to fit on the house. I wanted to make sure that this would have the ability to hang on the Christmas tree, so I cut a little hole in the top of the roof here, and be really careful if you do this like I did. These are pretty dull scissors, so I was not too concerned about that. And then I was ready to paint the house, so I decided to use this really pretty light blue color for the main part of the house, and then white for the roof and for the base. And once my paint had dried, I went ahead and glued the roof onto the house. And you don't have to be precise with this paint. It doesn't have to be super neat because the glitter really hides a lot of imperfections. So just bear that in mind. I'm not the most neat and tidy painter, and it worked out okay. So next I'm just going to paint a thin layer of white craft glue over the top of the entire house, and then I will pour glitter all over the whole thing. So I'm working over some paper here just so I can reuse that glitter once it spills all over everything. And then to add the glitter, I just like to sprinkle it on. I'm using white glitter that I think looks very frosty and snowy, so I just sprinkle a thick layer of it on and then tap it all over so that it gets evenly distributed and attaches to all of the glue that I've put on the house. I went ahead and used a straight pin just to make sure any glue or paint that was in the hole in the top of the house was gone. And here is how the glitter looks. This looks better in person than it does on camera, but I hope that you can kind of see how pretty and frosty it looked. So now I'm going to add a few extra details. I decided to add a little bit of fake snow to the bottom of this one, and I think it looks really, really cute. So I just hot glued that all around. I also added a little bottle brush tree and some twine to the top to hang it from, and then a little velvet ribbon as well. And for a final touch, I just sprinkled a little bit more glitter around the fake snow. I think it makes it just look a little bit more intentional, and that finished off the first house ornament. So to make the second one, I started with a little mini birdhouse. This actually had a hanger on it already, but I went ahead and removed that because I thought it was a little bit difficult to hang on the Christmas tree just because of how thick the rope was. So I decided to switch that out for some velvet ribbon. And then I'm going to follow the exact same steps here, painting this with some acrylic paint. I decided to use white and pink for this house, and this house was about $1.50 at Joann Fabrics, so it's really affordable if you don't want to take the time to make a cardboard house, but the cardboard one is recycled and free, so that is a good option as well. I think they both look really, really cute. So I went ahead and painted the house, and then again added a layer of glue and a layer of glitter and some little finishing touches like a Christmas wreath. So here are how the little house ornaments turned out. I think they are so, so cute. I would really actually like to make these in more colors. I love the pastel colors, and I think they're such a sweet detail on the Christmas tree. These next two ornaments, I used some scraps from an old sweater that I had recycled, and the first one is this little heart pillow, which I think is so, so cute. So I started by cutting out a heart shape with my old sweater fabric. This is from the sleeve of the sweater, and I just made sure that these nice cable knit details were in the center so that that really stood out. So I cut out a heart. I just freehanded this, and then I used the first one as a template for the second one to make sure they were about the same size and placement. I'm going to use this piece of pink velvet ribbon to hang this ornament from, so I'm going to sew this to the inside of the ornament. So I'm going to fold this together and place it at the center of the heart and make sure that it's facing down, and I'll make sure that I don't sew it into the bottom of the heart as well, so making sure that it's towards the center. And then I'm going to pin the two halves of the heart together with the right sides together, and also around the edge, leaving a gap on one side so that I can turn this to the right side. Then I'm going to turn the ornament right side out and go ahead and fill the inside with a little bit of polyfill. I like to make sure that it looks nice and fluffy and also adjust as I go. Since this fabric is a little bit stretchy, you can really make it look nice and even and rounded. And once I was happy with the shape, I just used a needle and thread to sew up the gap, making sure that the wrong sides or raw edges of the fabric are pushed to the inside. And because I can't get enough of velvet ribbon this year, I added a little bow of this pink velvet ribbon to the top as well for a finishing detail. I think the final ornament is so cute. I love the sweater knit on the Christmas tree combined with the pink. I think it is so, so pretty. This next ornament is made from the cuff of the same sweater, and I think it looks so cute. It's a little mini bobble hat. So I started by unraveling a little bit of the yarn from the sweater to use to make a pom-pom, and then I'm just going to set that aside for now. I'm just going to trim away this little bit of excess fabric here and then turn the sleeve towards the inside. Next, I'm going to take a needle and thread and just run some really big hand stitches along the top of this piece of fabric, and then I'm going to pull on those stitches to gather it up so that this comes together and looks a little bit more like a hat. Then I'm just going to secure my stitches and knot off my thread. So now I can turn this back to the right side and it looks so cute. It's really starting to look like a little miniature hat. And now I'm going to make a pom-pom for the top. So I'm going to wrap this little bit of yarn that I collected around my fingers a few times to make this little bundle of yarn. You want to make sure it has a lot of loops on either side. And then I'm going to take one more small piece of yarn and knot this around the center of the little bundle really securely. Now I'm just going to cut the loops of yarn so that they fluff out to create the pom-pom shape, and you can just kind of trim this as you go, give it a little bit of a haircut to make it the right shape. Now because mine is unraveled from knitting, it's a little bit curly looking, but I think it's really cute. So I'm just going to use some hand stitches to sew this to the top of the little mini hat, and then to hang this from the Christmas tree, I just tied on a little bit more velvet ribbon, and I think it turned out so cute. And then the last decor project today is this little Christmas village, which I had so much fun at making. This was inspired by the one I saw on Studio DIY, so I will link the original tutorial down below. But I got these birdhouses and I went ahead and painted them with acrylic paint in really pretty pastel colors. This is very similar to how I made the Christmas ornaments for the little houses, so you don't have to be too precise and neat here because everything is going to get covered in glitter. I chose this green color for this house because there is a house in downtown Little Rock that is an old Victorian home that is this really pretty mint green color, and I always love driving by that house, so this is a little bit inspired by that one. was surprised by how many different types of birdhouses you can find. I found this one that looks like a lighthouse, so I thought this would be so pretty in a blue color and add a little bit of interest to my mini Christmas village. Now, I did not apparently film the glitter part of this, but I did the exact same process as I did for the little mini Christmas ornaments, just adding glue and then a ton of glitter over the top of everything. I wanted to add some elements like Christmas wreaths to my houses, but these didn't really match the aesthetic that I was going for, so I switched out the red bows for pink velvet and painted all of the Christmas lights gold with my gold paint pen, and then just added these to the houses, and I think they look so cute. I also added some little bottle brush trees and different elements like that, and for a final touch, I added light up tea lights. Now, for the houses that they wouldn't fit through the doors of, I drilled some holes in the back, and I think that this whole village just came together so beautifully. I have it sitting on the TV cabinet in my sewing room, and it just makes me very happy to look at while I'm working on sewing projects. Alright guys, thank you so much for watching today's video. I really hope you enjoyed seeing all of these festive decor projects. I had so much fun making all of these. I think the Christmas village might have been my favorite project. That was just so much fun to create. So let me know which one was your favorite down below. And also, if you make any of these, be sure to tag me over on Instagram so I can see what you made. I would love to see that. I will have my username up here in case you don't follow me over there already. But thank you guys so much for watching. If you're not already subscribed to my channel, you can do that by clicking the red button down below. And again, if you would like to win the stocking that I made in this video, be sure to head over to my Instagram because I am giving that stocking away along with some beautiful items from some different small businesses. So if you want to check that out, be sure to check out my Instagram. Thank you guys so much for watching today and hanging out on my channel, and I will talk to you in the next one. Bye!